February 8th will, of course, be UFC 312 Du Plessis versus Strickland 2. Now, of course, many people believe this is the worst pay-per-view in recent memory. They are advertising it with 2 title fights, which they're not wrong, but that's about it. Now, no offense to Wheeler Jean. Yeah, I like her style, but we will only be talking about the main event. Now, of course, this is the rematch, obviously, where Du Plessis beat Strickland by decision. Of course, it was a close fight. People had it Strickland, like myself. Some people had it Du Plessis. It was a very close fight because of the takedowns with Du Plessis, but Strickland did deal the most damage and landed more strikes. But at the end of the day, it is MMA, so strikes don't mean everything, right? But of course, Sean Strickland, aka Tarzan, is 29-6, 11 wins by way of knockout, 4 submission wins, 14 decisions, with 2 losses by way of knockout and 4 decisions. That's right. Of course, he is the former middleweight champion, beating Israel Adesanya by unanimous decision. Then his first title defense was, of course, against Dricus du Plessis, which he lost by split decision. But he later came back and beat Paulo Costa by split decision. Now, of course, this is the, I guess you could say, over the hump Paulo Costa. Definitely no longer what he used to be, but a decent win nonetheless. Of course, he also has Imavov on his record. That's right. I think this was a late replacement fight. I don't know. But the thing is, it was only like a month after beating or losing to Jared Cannonier by split decision, which is another fight that people thought Strickland should have got. But, you know, we'll talk about that later. It's very important. So, obviously, he has good names on his record, right? But the now current middleweight champion, Dricus du Plessis, a.k.a. Still Knox, is 22-2, 9 wins by way of knockout, 11 submissions, and has only gone decision 2 times because 2 of his losses, 1 by knockout and 1 by submission. That's right. And of course, one of the people he went decision was, of course, against Sean Strickland. But before that was against Brad Tarvas back in 2022. So he has gone years without ever seeing the final bell or hearing the final bell, which of course is good and bad because obviously his losses were in the distance as well. But he won the title, of course, by beating Sean Strickland. But before that, he earned the title shot by knocking out Robert Whittaker. And then he defended the title against Israel Adesanya, submitting him in the 4th round. Now, of course, that is a common opponent. Now, of course, Du Plessis did beat Adesanya by stoppage, while Strickland went decision. But Strickland won a very dominant decision, and he won the way he wins, you know, by decision. Of course, Du Plessis is obviously a stoppage artist. So, obviously, him beating Adesanya by stoppage doesn't necessarily mean that his win over Adesanya is better, but it is something to keep in mind. Now, of course, the first fight is a very interesting one, as Sean Strickland was actually doing very well, negating a lot of the offense from Du Plessis. Obviously, his defensive stance, I guess you could say. And of course, obviously, his very good jab, very effective. Obviously, if you look at Du Plessis after the fight, his face showed that he got hit with a lot of jabs. People are saying, oh, but he shouldn't have gotten that many points from the jabs. You kind of do when you do that much damage from, like, basically just straight punches. But Du Plessis did cut open Sean Strickland, I think in the 3rd round, 2nd round, I don't know. But after that, obviously, Du Plessis started landing more and more of his shots. So obviously, that is something to keep in mind because, you know, he may not be able to make Sean Strickland bleed again, especially in the same place as before. But you never know, right? But the one thing I was thinking, oh, maybe Strickland can win this because it looks like he's starting to become more aggressive with his style. Because his style is obviously one that kind of wears you down mentally, right? He just comes straight forward, doesn't even do a lot. He just hits you with a jab, straight punch, and that's about it, right? And you think, oh, I got this, and you try to punch him. Oh, no, he defends it very well. You try to kick his legs, he defends that pretty well, so he's just very defensive. Kind of, I guess you could say, messes with your brain, I guess. But he basically came out and basically admitted that Dricus du Plessis can just take him down at any point of the fight. He said, oh man, we need to stand up and fight like men. It's just like, you just told him that you can't wrestle with him. Like, what the hell is that about? You just basically just admitted, yeah, you can take me down and I can't stop you. So why don't we not go to the ground instead? But yeah, besides that, I will assume Strickland will finally use his wrestling because he has some wrestling ability. But like he's like, nah, I'm a real man. It's just like, do you want to be a real man or do you want to be a champion again? You know, it's a weird thing to say. But whatever, that is his mentality. He can do what he wants. But I was gonna pick Strickland because I think, okay, well, with Pereira in his corner, he's probably gonna end up being more aggressive. Definitely whittling down du Plessis even more. But no, he basically just told them that wrestling, he could just get out wrestled the entire time. So not much of a real debate there anymore. Du Plessis by decision again, this time unanimous. I mean, Strickland has somewhat pop, right? Obviously, you don't do this much damage to du Plessis without, having some power. But he doesn't really put the pedal to the metal. That's one of his like greatest weakness. He just doesn't. It's like he has a sense of urgency, but it's only like the last round where he just starts doing whatever the hell this is. And just like I guess, but yeah, du Plessis. Don't get me wrong, he's still gonna lose on the stand up against Sean Strickland. I'm not gonna say Strickland's gonna get. I'm not saying he's gonna get knocked out again, but he's a very durable guy. He could take du Plessis' power. He's already shown that in the first fight. His defense is more than enough to keep him. Because Sean Strickland's defense will, of course, be more than enough to really keep him out of any real danger from du Plessis' strikes. But it's the wrestling. It's simple as that. It's the wrestling. Don't get me wrong. Whenever du Plessis actually took down Strickland, Strickland had no real problem getting back up. But, like, it's more of he will just keep shooting, like kind of like Marab. And he will probably get decision this time around. But, very interesting fight. Not a very good undercard, like, at all. But yeah, but besides that, who do you guys have winning this rematch? Do you have Dricus du Plessis cementing himself as the better fighter against Sean Strickland, going 2-0? Or does Sean Strickland show that he should have been the rightful winner of the first fight? There should be no rematch, basically. But besides that, leave your opinions down below, and I'll catch you in the next one.